Hello and welcome to the Golden Gloves Chat Show with me, my two great guests here, two of South Africa's top trainers without a doubt, Sean Smith and of course Sebastiaan Rothmann. Guys, there's a big fight now, that breaking news. We're talking about Tulz Mbenge versus Jabulani Makhense. The fight is almost signed with Golden Gloves. We don't have a date as yet, but it's a huge local fight. We're hoping to do sometime in July. It's earmarked for July with Golden Gloves, because we want a crowd. A fight like this deserves a crowd. So we're hoping the COVID can die down a bit and we can get a crowd for sometime in July to have Tulz Mbenge versus Jabulani Makhense. Okay, let me talk to you first, Sebastiaan. You've wanted this fight for a while. Both you guys have wanted this fight. It's a huge local fight and it's a great fight. Tell us what you think about the fight.
Well, I believe Tulz is the best on the continent.
Yes.
He is, and we want to be the best. So we've been saying for a while, we want to get tested before we talk about big international fights and stuff. Remember the guys overseas, if you go look at what Conor Bradin does and all these guys, they're up a certain level. And if you can't go that route if you don't show you the best.
Yes.
And they're definitely the best and we want to show it.
And absolutely, and that's what we want as Golden Gloves as well, for the South African public, for the international public, for you guys, for us guys as commentators. We want to see the best against the best. That's what it's about. That's what boxing's about. So this is it. This will be the two best welterweights in the country.
I think on the continent.
Two of the best welterweights in the world. In fact, they are both highly rated in the world, on the continent for sure. Let me talk to you, Sean. Former IBO champion Tulz Mbenge, 17-1. Only that single loss, which we're going to talk a little bit more about just now, which I don't think he lost either. 13 KOs. Lots of experience he brings to the party. You want this fight as well, obviously?
Yeah, of course. If you look at what's happening worldwide with COVID and this and that, it's not easy to get options elsewhere. And, if you go overseas with your boxer, they look to exploit you and they use your boxer. So I think the winner of this will show that they're serious and, they're a good brand for the welterweight division. And, I think the fans deserve it as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Great for TV, and obviously for us, the boys need to to use each other to go to the next level.
Yes.
So from Mbenge, obviously he has been overseas, but I mean this is a nice one to get him up in the welterweight and just say we're ready for the next international step.
Fantastic, yeah, and well said. The way I see it as well is you've got two guys that are in their prime. So it's not like somebody's fighting somebody at the end of their career, like a Floyd Mayweather did a lot in that. These two guys are in their prime. They're the two best welterweights, without a doubt, in this country, on the continent, like Sebastiaan said, and worldwide. So they're fighting in their prime. So there's no... It's a difficult one to choose. It's a good fight. I mean, if we look at all if we go back in time, the local fights, the great fights with Gerrie Coetzee and Kali Knutse, and you look at Pierre Coetzee and Johnny Deploy, and then you go like Baby Jack Hawk Makapula, and who could ever forget Philip Ndu and Cassius Beloy? I mean, those guys are all in their prime and have made great fights. So this is going to be a fantastic fight. We look forward to a really great fight. Sebastiaan, let me ask you, let's talk about the fight now. So now the fight is signed basically. We're waiting for a date for July. It will definitely happen on the Golden Glove show at Empress Palace on Supersport. How do you see Makhense beating? He's obviously, you're the trainer and the manager. He's 11-0 with 5 KOs. Terrific fighter, great talent. How do you see him beating a talented fighter like Tulz Mbenge?
Well, we have to go up in levels now. There is no... I've got a hell of a respect for Tulz and for Sean. They're going to do their homework. They're going to see everything that they can exploit of us. So any weakness,
yes,
we're going to have to work on. So in the first part of the training, we definitely going to... I'm going to be more like a devil's advocate. I'm going to look at how he thinks, how he's going to beat us, and first try and get that sorted out. Tulz, depends as well which Tulz pitches up. If Tulz at his best, he's going to give us problems. There's definitely levels that he does certain things.
And you need the best Makhense to pitch up as well.
The best Makhense, which he also didn't do in his last fight.
Yes, absolutely.
If he pitches up, what I'm hoping is both guys pitch up
Yes.
Me and him going to have a coffee afterwards and have a talk, and everybody wins. The whole boxing crowd will win. Everybody who's involved will win. It's going to be a hard fight. I'm not going to say he can do this or that. I just believe in my fighter. I believe we haven't shown the best. If Jabu pitches up at his best and Tulz pitches up, we're going to do a classic. That's definitely
Well, let's talk about that quickly while you raise that point. So, Kuvesa Katemba is a common opponent. They both fought him. That was Jabulani's last fight.
Correct.
And he didn't look good. As
was
you
bad,
just
very
agreed.
bad.
But they both battled against Katemba.
Well, I think we look worse than they did, to be honest. He didn't apply the game plan. We knew the guy is a spoiler. We knew he was going to hold on, and we didn't pitch up on the night. There's no excuse. We didn't do what we had to do. And
hard as nails, that guy.
Correct.
He's a tough opponent.
But tough opponent. Yeah, a spoiler, and he's a spoiler. He made it bad for both you guys. So it's a hard fight to judge on the two of them anyway. I can't look at those fights, even me as a commentator, and say Mbenge looked better or worse or whatever. Because
I think what people forget is these guys from the amateurs, they've always produced. So I mean, and they've just getting better and better the whole time. I think it's the right time. I think it's two guys who want it, both need it. I mean, to go to the next step, we need it. We need each other here.
Of course.
And so I still think this could be a classic. I honestly think.
Well, you're fighting a former IBO champion of the world, which you need to beat, of course, and keep your undefeated record. And of course, Sean wants to become the world champion again. Sean, let's talk quickly about that single loss to Sebastiaan Rothmann. Most of us feel that your man won. I definitely thought as a commentator he won, but he did take his foot off the pedal a bit in the middle rounds. No. Can you just talk us through that fight quickly?
Yeah, listen, I think that wasn't the way like we needed the fight to go. But I think what Tulz learned from that, the biggest thing, he needs to contain himself, contain his emotions. Because when you look at the guy he fought for Mela, he's the most unassuming guy you'll ever see in your life. And we went there and Tulz laughed. He said, "Coach, I'm going to hurt this guy." And he tried to hurt the guy. And then afterwards, around 6, 7, I said, "You need to change the game plan." And he couldn't look at me. I said, "Tulz, you need to change it up." And he just had it on his mind. He was just going for it. And the crowd, they're a hard crowd. They're
and for Miller, of course,
tough audience. And he's shown,
20-0.
and he's shown he can handle against the likes of Sean Porter, train harder, he said, than for Spence. He couldn't get him out there. So, and then we got a low blow, and if like you look on the scorecards, that would have been a draw, would have like retained, worst case scenario. So, like I said, that was a loss. We wanted the rematch, obviously didn't come, but we learned a lot. Tulz has learned under those hostile conditions what you need to do to stay in the moment. So, like I said, that's how when you look this fight, everyone goes Jabulani's last out. But that's also you got to look. Then the guys learn from his mistakes.
Absolutely.
You can't say on his last fight he was like that, because
look
at us on our last fight against Kuvesa, we were average. I said, I need to change this up. You did this wrong, you did that wrong. Then like the next fight, I worked out how to get him on fire again. So you can't say they're going to be like in the last fight. They're going to be better.
Sure.
Please God, we'll also be better. So
then of course, Jabulani and Mbenge just come off 2 great wins. So let's not worry about Kuvesa anymore.
That's what I wanted to say. That's why when I read the article on the write-up on like the website, someone said to me, I said, "Well, if they're still interested, let's do it." Because these guys can't afford to stay inactive. It's harming our boxers beyond. The money is one thing, this and that, and wait for money. Don't wait for money. Keep the boys active. They fought in December. We fought in December. So we go to July, 7 months. I wouldn't want to wait longer than that. Everything's right. Good opponent, good ratings. They need to stay active. To wait till September, December for them again, it's really wrong. Going to do the boys a disservice.
Sean, let's talk a little bit more about the fight now. Obviously, now that the fight is going to happen, both guys, I see them as scientifically skilled artisans. They're really brilliant in the ring. Who would you say is a bigger puncher? Would you say Mbenge is a bigger puncher than Makhense?
You know what?
Or would you go 50-50 there?
Yeah, that's like debatable Tulz, if he's on his range and on his game, like I saw at the end of like the camp, his last sparring, he started hitting. I said, geez, like this guy's hitting like a Spence now. So, you know what, hitting hard, can you land the mark? Timing. Hitting hard if you don't hit the mark means nothing. So I say, who's more accurate? Who's, you know what I'm saying, who's able to land like the punches skillfully, able like, you know, to work out how like to land like the punches is more my interest than who hits harder. Anyone hits, if you land it right, you know, you can hurt someone. Tulani Mbenge is strong either hand, but Tulani Mbenge, yeah. Oof, I've seen him deep water sparring. He does not quit against no one. So for me, I'm more concerned he's got the head and the heart, the fists and the boxing, that'll come.
But as they say in the fight game, you're only as good as your opponent allows you to be.
Exactly.
So Mbenge is only going to be as good as Makhense allows him to be, and of course vice versa. Sebastiaan, what would you, obviously it's early days, and you're not going to tell us everything now on camera, but what did you do to beat Mbenge? What would you have to do, would you think? Now that the fight is signed and it's going to happen?
It's like any fight. You want to break the guy's rhythm. You want to get him in a position where he doesn't want to be. You want him to get you in a position where you don't have rhythm. It's easy. All fights are technically the same. The guy who gets his will in the middle, the guy who dictates the pace and everything, he usually is the guy winning the fight. And listen, me and him, we're mates, but we're going to hate each other's guts. We're going to work out plans so much, and he knows what I know, and I know what he knows. So I still think this could be a classic. So I don't want to talk too much about what we're going to do or people are going to tune in and they can see a quality fight, and this is what we need in this country. We need a quality. You know, it's for me.
Highest level available for the fans at the moment, the local fight. I think it's the highest.
Brian, you remember when you were SA champion and how much the SA title meant back then. We just want to show who's the best in the country at the moment, and we also want to elevate that everybody else sees there. These local fights are massive. They elevate the guys to a different league.
Yes.
And our time at SA title meant a lot, or being number one in the country meant a lot. We want to get that back up.
And I must say, Makhense, when I think about the fight, and it is a great local fight, Makhense, you would think, how does he handle a pressure fighter? Because Mbenge can really put on the pressure.
Correct, and Job always has
but
extra
then
time.
if you think about Matamba, he did quite well against Matamba. He outsmarted Matamba. I'm not saying Matamba's as good as
different styles,
but
different
it's totally
fighters.
different styles.
Correct.
So it's going to be who wants it most. It's going to be obviously who works out the opponent the
best. A lot
best.
happens on the night, you know.
Both guys are fairly good punchers. Both your fighters, they're really skilled boxers, terrific fighters. Me personally, and I've discussed it with Rodney Berman from Golden Gloves, there's not going to be a winner. That's what's a really great fight. Two big names like these two guys. Doesn't have to be a knockout. It can be such a fantastic classic fight that they both go on to be world champions. And that's how I see the fight. So we look forward to a big one. I'm going to ask you, obviously, your predictions. Who's going to win the fight and how is he going to win the fight, Sean Smith?
Last thing I'd just like to say, Makhense's a good fighter. Really, before Matamba, to me, I still thought was a draw. Leave it at that. Let that lie. His last fight, got a nice decision. But before that, he had 2-3 perfect fights. He fought great. And that's what I'm expecting to bring. He's the best. And he's a great fighter. And you know what? That's what I'm looking for him. I'm not going to hope he's going to be the guy who didn't arrive at his last fight. I'm going to prepare tools to beat his best. I don't want to make predictions, you know what I'm saying? Because then my fighter's going to live up to my prediction, my stand. And then, you know what I'm saying?
But you are predicting victory for your man.
Yeah. Me as a trainer is to get the result and to get my boxer on the night the best he can be, and to get the result, the best result I can get, which is obviously the win, and anything else better than that. I just hope it's a good fight, and one of them, both of them look great, and one of them can go on to international stage and do some good things for the country. We need some more international, more exposure, more results internationally.
Fantastic. Thanks, Sean. Obviously, you're choosing your man, Tulani Mbenge, who is a good fighter, 17-1. I'm going to end with you, Sebastiaan Rothmann. Big fight for you. I would say going into this, you've got to be the underdog, even though your man is 11-0.
Correct.
Because Tulani Mbenge should be 18-0. He's got a lot more experience, but a really terrific fight. And me personally, I can't wait for the fight. It's going to happen sometime in July. And as you said, it'll be on Supersport, it'll be at Empress Palace, and we look forward to it on the Golden Glove Show. Your final view on it?
Of course, Jabu. I'm backing my guy. I do think this is going to definitely test him to his best abilities. I think these guys are going to bring the best out of each other, and that's why we're going to train harder than ever, do extra sessions, everything. We've planned out. He's very excited about a fight, and that makes it easier for me. So we all know what the dangers are in these fights, and
everybody wants it. Everybody wants it. We're all on the same page. Okay. The trainers want it. The fighters want it. Fantastic stuff. Tulani Mbenge will verse Jabulani Makhense in the welterweight division sometime in July. Watch out for the news. Watch this program. We'll give you the date. It'll be on a Golden Glove Show. From me, Brian Mitchell. Thank you for watching. Thank you, Sean Smith. Thank you, Sebastiaan Rothmann, for being great guests. We'll speak to you soon.